Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Springbank 175th anniversary bourbon and sherry, 46% ABV. Dustin, sent to us by our friend in New York, Quaker Oats.
He's not in New York. Different guy who sends us the samples from New York.
I'm sorry, Quaker Oats. Where are you from? Where's Quaker from?
Oh, man. I want to say he's kind of in the Colorado area, but I don't know that I got exactly where he's from.
Quaker
I don't want to dox him too bad here.
Well, I don't think anyone's going to run people down the whole statewide, but you never know, Dustin. If you give them Springbank samples out,
anybody's got more Springbanks than I have.
we're going to find them.
People are
what we're going to do.
People are looking.
We're going to find them. You hear that, Quaker Oats? You're 100 man. We appreciate
You're at least a wanted man.
We appreciate it. Any idea when this was released?
You know, I don't know. It's definitely more than 10 years ago, I think.
Okay.
But I don't think it's like much more. So I'm guessing 8 to 13.
Okay.
Just sort of my guess.
46%, a standard Springbank, but not a standard for the normal 12s.
Correct. Yeah, they are doing with their standard 46. But always non-chill filtered.
Mm-hmm. If I didn't mention this before, he did give us the caveat of it being both bourbon and sherry cask maturation.
This is one of the years ago I looked up and I saw on a website and thought about it and just couldn't pull the trigger because they were not asking retail.
Right away, you're getting both that vanilla, creamy vanilla oak from the bourbon, and then you're also getting that nice sweetness from the sherry. It's a nice little 1-2 punch.
There's a really nice bubble gummy, juicy fruit meets like Hubba Bubba.
I could say the sherry note does sachet into bubblegum, which is always a good sign. I sometimes criticize distilleries for going 46 or under 48 or cask strength because I like cask strength all the time. However, sometimes they proof it down to where it is at a really nice spot for nosing, and I think that's what we got here, Dustin.
This is nice. It's got a really smoky note coming through here. Very like charred oak, not like peat smoke, not like barbecue. This is
Maybe a high char cask, maybe?
could be, could just be, this is sort of the sherry cask just left that note.
I am getting some cold coal fire from a bonfire.
You are definitely in the. I was getting ready to say coal, maybe.
Just did when that little ashy cinder's going out.
Yeah,
The soot's gone, but the smoke's there. You know what I'm saying? It's still ashy.
this is very vanilla forward, though, Mike. It is
I
very winter mint vanilla kind of a thing going on here, and I'm really digging it.
Yeah, right away, the first thing I picked up was that oaky vanilla, which I assume comes from the bourbon cask, and I said it was counterbalanced nicely by that sweet sherry note.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't go straight to being a Springbank just off the nose. I'm not shocked at Springbank nosing it, but I don't know if that there's a distinctive Springbank element here.
because of the overtop sweetness and like it's kind of dialed down as far as the funk. It's really not funky for 12 years old. You usually get a lot of funk with Springbank at that age. It's really not funky.
No, I mean, I'm definitely, if I'm nosing this, I'm thinking, ooh, this is craft. This is from like a smaller distillery. This isn't mass produced. But I'm not sure who's doing it. Is it Deanston? Is it Springbank?
Well, since you made me go down this line of thought, my first thing that came up in my head was Cohoman.
Okay.
A little Cohoman.
Yeah, maybe one of their like local barley deals that aren't as peated.
I could see that, yeah. Bourbon cask maturation,
Yeah.
something similar. Yeah, but a beautiful nose on this. Yeah, when you said Christmas, there was something there that kind of gave me a little like, huh. I agree with that note, but I'm not exactly sure what I agree with it about. But there is like some kind of
There's just like a white mint on here. Just
white mint's a good call on that, Dustin.
like it's not a descriptive, and it's more like powdered sugar, but there's a hint of mintiness. This is nice. This is really pleasant.
There's a crystal sugary cleanness to it as well. I've been kind of like trying to say how this clean note kind of comes up, but the cleanness is with the sweet sugary note.
This is Mr. Clean approved.
And that's not to say there's like, any type of
There is some earthiness and dirtiness in here, but it's like that coal note you brought up. I mean, it's just kind of a little bit of wood smoke and burnt char. But
the sweetness from the sherry cask intermingled with that super candied, sugary, like you said, almost Mentos-like white sugar note is a really nice, strong, sweet backbone to this whole experience.
And now I'm starting to get a little bit of tropical fruit notes coming through, Mike, in the background.
This was an easy one to pick up. This is open up nice.
Yeah, maybe a little smoked papaya or something. Not even smoked, just toasted. I mean, it's.
There is something almost Hawaiian barbecue here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I wouldn't say anything as citrus as like a pineapple or anything like that, but there's just some type of Hawaiian barbecue, sweet, savory.
It could be pineapple again, but it's been on a grill. It's been heated up. It's no longer
acidic.
As acidic, yeah.
Beautiful smelling whiskey, doesn't it?
They've really, man. This is
Sometimes
This is impressive.
sometimes I take a while with these samples, just to nose them for a while because I don't know how long when we get sent samples. I don't know if it's a new crack of a bottle. I don't know if the bottle's been sitting there for a while. But if it's a freshly opened bottle or a bottle that hasn't had a lot out of it, man, it's really nice to let it sit here for a while. It changes quite a bit.
Oh wow!
What are you picking up?
Oh man! So you do get a little bit of Springbank funk finally coming in here on the palate, but that tropical fruitiness is everywhere on here. The peat smoke is lingering on the finish, the sweetness, the vanillas, but those tropical fruits are. Like I would think more of like a Madeira cask or something that's giving it almost like a little orange marmalade going on with like just kind of like some kind of tropical jam. Oh man, but the finish is really nice, smoky, classic Springbank peat note. The funk's up front. It's a cleaner peat on the finish. A little bit of barbecue sauce coming through here now. Like a vinegar barbecue.
Right away, you're right. It's fruit forward.
Ooh.
Citrus fruit.
Yummy.
Yeah, you said orange marmalade. I get behind that. I can get behind anything orange or maybe lemon, pineapple, anything like that, a little bit grilled. But then quickly, as soon as you swallow, quickly the mid palate was very recognizable, dirty, earthy Springbank. It gave you some of that funkiness, gave you a little bit of that dirty soot and peat. But then again, right as soon as you swallow, there's still a twinge of that citrus left. But then it was just all a nice smoke and beautiful sweetness, beautiful candied, sugary sweetness. At least for me,
a little bit. I went for another sip in there. Definitely has some bitterness and some sourness coming through. Initially, it starts to come off a little bit like a really good Springbank 10-year on the first arrival. But there's more sherry notes here for sure, and you're getting again a little bit more bitterness, a little more sourness on the mid palate, which is a nice transition and gives it like an intensity and a depth of flavor that you don't get on the 10s. That's probably your biggest. If I had to guess, like what I like about the 10 or where you're falling off is that it doesn't have that intenseness. This has all of it and then some.
Yeah, this long linger here, I didn't even go for a second taste. This long linger did turn a little bit bitter, a little bit sour here on the sides. And it comes off way higher alcohol content than 46%. A lot of times citrus will do that to me. It'll make it some sting a lot heavier than what it is. This goes back to what I said right at the beginning of the video, which was sometimes they knew the ABV to put it at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is beautifully put together. Well-crafted whiskey here. I want to put just a drop of water here. I'm going to go real light if I can. Yeah. I'm just wanting to see if I can get enough in there to tease out a few more things.
Dustin, I too worry about putting too much water in this one.
It's so good as it is. I really don't want to mess with it.
We gotta see what water does too. And I never like adding a lot of water to anything. 46, 45, 43. It's just, but
every now and then you get shocked, but more often than not, it's not the whiskey's best.
It really was drinking nice the way it was.
It's excellent.
I could tell this was a bottle I opened and we sat in the back porch and had a couple drams of it. I could tell that those fruit notes would just get candied after about 3 or 4 glasses.
This would be an incredible summer pour. Oh my goodness!
I mean, fall going into winter now, it's not bad either.
True. I mean, honestly, we're barely even really getting fall. This is almost a summer day. It's a little cool, but
it's 72 degrees. It's almost perfect.
It is almost perfect. Yeah, this is a sit outside. Yeah, I don't want a hot summer day with this. I want a cool summer day, a hot fall day. Exactly.
Yeah, the citrus notes still on this long linger are they're just sticking to the sides of the tongue.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of another whiskey that hit the citrus notes so well. I know I've had a few. Nothing's jumping up.
It's walking a dangerous line of it being overpowering, but it's not.
No, it's beautiful.
It's forward facing.
This might be one of my favorite whiskeys of all time in terms of that citrus note. We've had some where like a bourbon cask Macallan can have a really nice couple of elements there hidden.
21 Fine Oak is a nice example of tropical fruit version of it.
Glenmorangie 25-year-old has a beautiful nose with that.
Those were more orange, where this is more zesty lemon and pineapple, though.
Yes. But my thing is, this does it better. This does it better. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I'm getting at. So I'm trying to, like maybe a Balvenie single cask has done some of this.
Dustin?
I'm thinking about some epic whiskeys here to compare it to this nose. Now, that said, it's a little sour, a little astringent. Maybe that's not the ideal, but I'm loving it.
Dustin, I'm not the biggest person on, like, super citrusy fruits in a whiskey in general. if I think it's done pretty well and it's a nice whiskey, I think most people will be safe with that note. Yeah. Even if you're, something that's kind of taken back by it a little bit.
But you are a tropical note guy. This has got some nice tropical.
That's where the distinction is. So citrus is the hardest one to get right, in my opinion. Or let me put it this way. Easiest one to get wrong. I know that kind of sounds like the same thing, but it really isn't.
No, you're right.
It's very, very easy to get a over-the-top, sharp citrus note incorrect. Now, tropical fruit notes, there's usually tropical fruits, a little bit of orange or in it. There's something else, a little bit more flavor to it. Not so much the high acidity fruits in general. Mm-hmm. But this is doing high acidity fruits extremely well. Now I'm talking pineapple and lemon. I can't think of anything more acidic.
Ooh. And water brought out that kind of stingy Springbank classic oak note that I get on 12s. I get on all the Springbank sometimes, especially with a little bit of water. And it's just this nice little, it makes you think of like a porous wood that's soaking in stuff. It's giving you a little bit of sourness. It's really nice. Like a sponge cake that's absorbed just beautiful whiskey.
In my mind, I always thought of that note, and you're right, it has it here, of if they shot the barrel with a bullet. And it's like they get some prickly wood in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah.
I mean, obviously they wouldn't do that, but it almost like that. You said spongy and a few things. I was like, you know what? That's kind of always the way I've kind of thought about it in my mind. Like the wood just splintered out into it, and whatever that oak and the splinters got in there, because it's almost biting from a splintering perspective.
Yeah, no, it's I do prefer it without the water, but I do also like this note because it's just so classic Springbank. It's one of those things when I add water to whiskey, I instantly know Springbank when I get this note. All
right, so for everyone else who isn't Dustin and Springbank fan, what water really did for me was this. It brought up a little bit of the oak note, took the citrus note and the sweetness down. Very standard things of what you'd expect water to do.
It didn't bring out the fruits more, but it maybe brought a little more acidity.
See, I think it took the acidity down. It took the whole experience of the fruit down a notch to me. To me, it simplified it. It did make it a slightly more earthy and dirtier. It became more recognizable as a Springbank.
Definitely made it earthier and dirtier.
It's not over the top, super clean, sugary sweetness anymore.
It brought the bitterness out a little bit more. You're right. It's not the sour. It brought the bitter out a little bit more.
And that, too. I agree with you. I mean, not bad. But I mean, again, I'd prefer it neat, 46%. They probably had this thing locked in. Probably a 52 was probably too punchy from a citrus perspective.
This was a punchy whiskey, I guarantee it, whatever the cask strength was.
Yeah, this is a very biting whiskey from start to finish. For the first time we nosed it, even with water here drinking, hits a lot higher than the 46% ABV, Dustin.
This is also a classic example of whiskey I would fully believe was a little older than the age statement.
Wouldn't shock me on an anniversary bottle like that. Everyone wants to put their best foot forward.
Yeah.
Especially
but again,
46%.
Because it has that boldness of flavor. Sometimes at 12 you don't get that. When you go to 46, this has it. It wouldn't shock me if they got a little bit of older whiskey blended in this.
Fun whiskey, Dustin. Springbank 12, 175th anniversary. Bourbon and sherry cask, 46% ABV. Thank you again, Quaker Oats, wherever you are in the world, my friend. Dustin, we need to get to whiskey score time. And since it's technically your bottle that you brought here, your whiskey that you brought here, I will go first. I've been bouncing back and forth between actually three numbers. And I hate when I'm back and forth between three numbers. That means I really don't have a great feel on what the whiskey is. So I'm just going to cut it right in half and give it an 88. I don't know if it's an 87 or it's an 89. You could convince me of either. But I'm going to give it an 88. A whiskey I would absolutely like to get more well-versed in. Lovely sample. Thank you, Quaker.
Yeah. So, Mike, I've been watching some of our recent videos, and I kind of realized I have allowed my scoring to creep a little too high lately. So I'm going to try to correct that. And on that, I'm actually going to match your score of 88 here. Because initially, my first thought here on the nose was this could be nearing a 90. But no, that was me trying to be too generous here. It's an 88. Excellent whiskey.
Excellent.
Definitely something I would... This would be an ideal kind of daily drinker if this was something you could get a hold of. And I bet you Springbank originally priced this to be something you could drink pretty easily. Maybe not daily, but it's definitely something you could have for your Friday night.
8,200 pounds originally, you think?
Oh, I bet you it was under that.
Yeah.
I bet you it was less than that. No, I mean, this is excellent whiskey. This is very drinkable. It's easy drinking, and yet it's got enough flavor and punch where it's a special drink. That's an 88 all day for me.
Dustin, I can't disagree. Quaker, once again, thank you. For you viewing, we want to know what you guys had a chance to try this particular whiskey and what you guys think. We do a lot of Springbank ones, so I know a lot of Springbank fans will come here. So it ceases to amaze me how many bottles people get their hands on.
It's amazing how big our community does, Mike. We have 3,500 subscribers. which is more than Springbank 21 releases, and yet we get 2,000 views on a Springbank 21. Just shows the enthusiasm of this community.
Yeah, and this distillery. Anyway, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this one, love to know what you guys think. Dustin, until next time, what do we wish some folks?
Happy, generous friends drinking.
See you next time.